Hey, here we are for another unplanned stream. The problem is when I try and set up a stream and I plan it out and there's a date for it, inevitably something's gonna go wrong and I have to cancel it. But if I do it on a whim, no plans, no intentions, it just pops up, here we are. So things are a bit different and hopefully everything is working out right now. As you can see, I have a brand new mic that I am trying out to see how we like it. I just felt like the space needed something a bit more, you know, a little more pizzazz. And so that's where we're at right now. Today I launched my brand new thumbnail creator for Final Cut Pro, and I did release a video for it, and I seriously cut out like 15 to 20 minutes of stuff in that video to condense it down because it was so long. There's just so many features inside of this plugin that I just released, and I really wanted to show all of them, but I have to play the YouTube game, and so I had to condense it way down. And I thought, you know, a better way to do this would be to do a live stream where I can, you know, show you the stuff in detail and I can answer any questions you have. I'm in slow-mo is what Priscilla is saying. Slow-mo. Oh, it does kind of look like slow-mo. That's bizarre. I wonder why that is. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? Again, totally different setup. Everything's moved over and I don't know why I'm in slow-mo. That's very intriguing. Let's see here. We're gonna figure this out. I don't know. That's bizarre. I'm also, you know, getting... It's just weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know why it's all choppy. Maybe if I switch cameras here. Let's see if I switch over to this. Does that fix it? Nope, it's still kind of floaty. I don't know. But yeah, you know, I'm not sure why we're having the problems. That's what I get for doing an unplanned stream, I guess. Let me just check out that my settings are all set here. Stream latency. I don't know. It's kind of funky. Why does the video cut out? You know, we're having a rough stream here, and I'm not sure why. I wonder if I were to reset. Can I do that? What if my office is a complete mess right now? Ooh, that's rough. That's rough. Look, everything is in chaos, guys, because I have moved everything over to this side. But for some reason, things are... Okay, video looks good to Daniel. So I don't know. Maybe it's an internet thing there, Mr. Faha. It also looks like my latency is extra high. It's just one of those days. But I thought that this could be helpful to have a live stream here, showcase some of the new features in my brand new plugin, the thumbnail creator. Now, I have been seeing some comments like, what's the deal? Why would I want a thumbnail creator for Final Cut Pro when Pixelmator exists, Photoshop exists, Affinity just went free? Why would I want to do it in Final Cut? And what I found is creating thumbnails in Final Cut Pro is actually an extremely efficient way to do it. And I never thought about that until I, you know, started planning this out. There are so many benefits to creating your thumbnail in Final Cut Pro because, for one, all the assets that you have edited with, everything you've brought into your video, it's already sitting there in Final Cut Pro. So that's huge. You don't need to go and export anything, make sure it's in the right color space, anything like that. It's just already sitting there in Final Cut. Secondly, you don't need to learn a whole other photo editing app. So a lot of the time your keyboard shortcuts are different, or, you know, there's a million things different with a photo editor compared to Final Cut Pro. So if you have any experience with Final Cut, all that experience is going to get carried directly into your photo editing. which is huge. Thirdly, there's a lot of optimization directly for Final Cut Pro. So it's insanely fast and you get all of that optimization, but now it works for your thumbnails. So I don't know if you guys have ever worked with Photoshop, but I find performance to be a bit lackluster, let's say. I don't really like working with Photoshop because it takes so long to open up. So that's kind of strange. It's so slow. I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry about that, guys. And then another reason why this whole plugin creator is handy is because any plugins you've previously purchased over the years, those plugins are also going to work for Final Cut Pro, or for your thumbnail creation, right? So let's say you've purchased some kind of skin smoothing plugin. Someday I want to make one of those. That skin smoothing plugin is going to carry through, and so you don't need to keep purchasing other plugins for other software, right? Everything can be condensed into one spot. There are things Final Cut Pro is lacking, of course, like it doesn't have generative AI like Photoshop does. But if you're not focused on needing generative AI, Final Cut's pretty great at photo editing, and I've been really impressed. I would love like a healing brush or something like that. That's kind of why I added the patch tool. But I've been very surprised at how good Final Cut is for photo editing and creation. So that's been fun. Let's take a look at some of these chat messages here. Oh, okay, Chris is saying I'm dropping frames. Okay, that's good to know. For some reason, it looks like there's a ton of latency between my stream, and I don't know why that is, but Rob is here. Happy Friday, all. Glad you guys are here. Thanks for stopping by for this random stream. So anyway, with all that being said for this thumbnail creator, let's just dive in. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of other tools that I didn't get to talk about inside of my video. And this is just for those of you that bought it and you want to get the absolute most out of this brand new tool. So let me know if the music's like too loud or anything. I can turn that down a little bit, but let's jump over to my computador here. And I actually, at the time of filming, I didn't even have all of the tools available. So I've even added more tools since I filmed. But let's go ahead and just create a new timeline here. Oh, whoops, I already named one that. And we'll make it 4K. Thumbnail version 2.0. And I accidentally made it vertical. Which, you know, if you're feeling crazy, go for it. Make a vertical thumbnail. Actually, that's something that I would love to get more info on. A lot of people were asking for features for a thumbnail guide for Instagram and TikTok. And I just don't use those platforms anymore because I am so obsessed with social media and I really needed to take a break. So I've never downloaded TikTok, but Instagram I try and stay away as much as I can. It sucks me in once in a while, but but I really do try and stay off those platforms. Usually Instagram's kind of like my wife and I will watch some reels at night, and that's fun. But anyway, here we are taking a look. And we'll get our thumbnail creator over here on this side too. So some of the stuff that is in this is like these texture packs, right? I love using texture packs. So I'm gonna drop in the gradient on the bottom here. And there's this concrete texture. And then it has super easy on-screen controls. But the big thing with textures is you want to use blend modes with them. So Final Cut Pro, of course, has access to blend modes. So let's just drop in overlay. And look at how this like instantly super cool texture for your background that you can use. But it doesn't just have that one texture, right? The concrete style, we've got smooth concrete, we have got new concrete, cracked. So I added in all of these that you can very easily throw into your project. So that's one benefit. And I don't just have it for concrete. We've got like paper over here. And again, we'll just blend mode that. Overlay is kind of my go-to for these textures. I just think that looks really good. But yeah, so now we've got this really cool paper texture that we can easily plop on our timeline. We've got the vintage paper, which this is kind of hard to see with the blend mode, but there's just a whole bunch of different styles of these different textures that you can very easily use for your photos. So that's something I love, is adding in texture directly to my my thumbnail creation. Maybe less for this YouTube channel, but previous YouTube channels I was helping create thumbnails for. I did a ton of texture work, and I just feel like it adds a lot. You can add it to titles, backgrounds, whatever. So that's something I didn't get to show. Let me make sure everything's running good here. Daniel Sample is saying, I've been looking for a way to edit my thumbnails. I've been using Canva, but it just hasn't been cutting it. So I'm really thinking about picking up this plugin for my YouTube video thumbnails. Daniel, if you pick it up, I've got a refund policy, man. So if you feel like it's still not cutting it, just like Canva isn't, let me know. I'll refund you. Don't worry about it. Devin, hey Dylan, question. So do we choose a frame from the video as the thumbnail or take a still and upload that? Devin, that is 1000% up to your own preferred workflow. So I like just pulling from video stills because I'm actually a really crappy photographer. You would think video and photography are the same. They're different. They're so different. And I find all my photos look terrible. So I like to pull directly from my videos. Again, that's up to you. What I like about this tool is it makes it really easy to just pull in your video elements without needing to export a still or anything like that. And if you watch my video, I show how to create a freeze frame. It's just Option F. And that makes it really easy to have a still frame without needing to export, re-import, all that stuff. Chris is saying, don't sweat the minor issue today. Picture quality and audio is perfect. Glad to hear. I'm loving this mic. I do like this mic a lot. Is there a background remover option? Jim, the background remover is the magnetic mask that's built into Final Cut Pro. So if you want to remove backgrounds, go to the magnetic mask. If you're not on Final Cut 11, where that was introduced, there is the scene removal mask. It's subpar, we'll say. It's not great. So unfortunately, I don't have the brain power to create a tool that does that. You can look into Keeper, which is awesome for removing backgrounds if you are, not able to update to Final Cut Pro 11. Doc Rock in the house. He had to hear the SM7B. He wanted to see how it sounded for my voice, I bet. He's gonna try and sell me on one of those. He's got these really cool capsules, whatever, pop filters for the SM7Bs. They're all colored. They are tempting, Doc. I might have to hit you up for one of those. Will is wondering, what would you recommend to do if you're using motion graphics from Affinity? Will, if you like using Affinity, keep using Affinity. This tool is, there's a lot of specific graphics that this tool has pre-made. So Affinity's not going to have, for example, these attention lines. If I drop these on the timeline. So these attention lines are going to be unique to this. And they have all these super cool on-screen controls, which makes it really nice. And we can, I'm a blend mode guy. We'll just drop the blend mode like that. So these are really cool. Affinity's not gonna have attention lines like this, or Affinity doesn't have this one color ray, and we can change the color on that one color ray. Well, it's getting a little crazy there. So you can do that with this, and there's color variance sliders and divisions. So Affinity doesn't have this stuff. Affinity is a really great photo editor, and that's what I've been using for years on this channel. But what I set out to do was to create presets that make it really fast and easy, so you have amazing looking titles out of the box. You don't need to sit and spend hours creating a cool looking title for your video. They're already made. Or you have all these background pieces that you can combine together to get something that really grabs attention. That's what my primary focus was for this. One thing I love is these spirals. Spirals, okay. If you guys watch Dave Altizer, I think is his name, excellent thumbnail creator, and he's been talking about how spirals, those are the secret to getting people to click on your videos. So now you can try those out because this has spirals in it, and you can adjust the tightness on these spirals, and you can change the colors to your liking. There we go. Or just blend modes, man. Blend modes are the way. So yeah, you can drop these spirals in. And then there's other stuff that this tool has, like I showed one version of the title background in my video. So this version has the title spread out over the entire width of your project, and it won't ever pop off. But if you want a version where it's just hanging out by itself, just like so. We can do just that. We can adjust our line spacing, and there's, you know, a lot you could do with this. Let's add in our extrude effect. Now we've got a 3-dimensional box with a title, which is cool. We kind of have to offset it. That's just Final Cut Pro doing Final Cut Pro stuff. So there's cool stuff like that, and this is made to combine a lot of those elements. So this is stuff that I usually would have in Final Cut, and I would export out and send to Affinity, because Affinity doesn't have this 3D extrude tool, or it doesn't have, like I said, spirals and stuff. But now I can just do that all in Final Cut. So that's kind of the idea there. Where am I going with this? Let me check my chat messages. Oh, Jim Games is saying I have FCP 11. Sweet. So yeah, you can use the magnetic mask. You're set. Yeah, you should be good. I was trying to think if there's a computer requirement there, but I think you're good if you have Final Cut 11. Will Tyndall is saying interesting. I like that idea. Temporal is saying hi. What's going on, Temporal? Tech Mixer, I'll buy this if it's zoomy enough. Man, that throwback to the Patreon stream. Doc is saying, I use Photoshop and have since version 1. This plugin is way faster. Great work, DB. Hey, I appreciate you, Doc. Thanks for helping me sell this thing. Jim, can you show the process of removing yourself from a background with Magic Mask? You got it, Jim. This one's for you. And actually, if you watch the video I released today too, I do it. So let's just get a cringy moment of me, and I'm gonna push control. I'll show the graphical elements to do this. So we'll get the magic wand here, and then we'll select add magnetic mask, or you can do Control Command M, which is my go-to. So we'll just cut me out. We'll click on the spots that I want to keep, and then we'll push Option and click around the areas that we don't want. And that selection's looking pretty okay there. Oh, I accidentally made a selection. Command Z, so it does not want to add my, there we go. So yeah, I've got my selection there, and we'll push done. So we've got the cutout, and now you've got two options here. You can decide to either freeze frame or hold frame. Now, hold frames are excellent because they maintain any effects you've added to it, whereas a freeze frame is going to bake in the effects. So let me showcase that. For example, if I did a freeze frame on this magnetic mask, that's Option F. And now this clip, if we take a look up here in the top right, no longer has the magnetic mask add to it. It's baked in. So I can't make any changes to the magnetic mask, but that comes with the benefit of the freeze frame essentially just working as a regular photo on your timeline. So that's really cool. Or instead, I could push Shift H, and that's gonna throw the magnetic mask out of whack. So basically, Shift H, the hold frame doesn't keep that magnetic mask, so that's the main problem there. But if you wanted to do a hold frame, you could throw this into a compound clip and then do Shift H, and so this compound clip now has a freeze frame, and that magnetic mask is inside. And if you need to make adjustments to that magnetic mask, you can jump in the compound clip and make the changes up here. So there's two completely different ways to work with freeze frames and magnetic masks. Sometimes you want your effects to be baked in, like in this instance. Other times you want you want to be able to change the effects after the fact. So now that I have a cutout, let me get back to I'm gonna do the freeze frame. Now that I've got this cut out, I can go in and color grade this however I would like. Something I've been doing, I've been just going to my custom LUTs for this, and I've just been using this new Emulate plugin by Eric Lentz and Christian Mate Grab, and so I can just throw in, this is the Sony S-Log3, and then I just duplicate that custom LUT by dragging it right on top. And we'll just change this over to the look of 16 mil, and that's looking pretty good. And also I will use the density sliders from Emulate. Place that up above everything, bring up that skin. So that's just bringing back my saturation. That's my super basic color workflow. There's a lot more there. But what's great is now we have access to all of this directly in Final Cut Pro. Something that I always struggle with in photo editing software is using their coloring tools to get the looks that I like, because first of all, I'm a terrible colorist. I barely understand Final Cut Pro's tools. So taking it to a whole new app, I just never understand it. So I would usually color grade my footage here in Final Cut and then send it over to Affinity. But now everything's here and I know how to use the tools in Final Cut. I have the plugins I've purchased previously, so big benefit there. Yeah, okay, so that's how you do the cutout. And now that we've got this cutout, this is an unfortunate pose. I know, I found that out later, but it is what it is. Life of a guy online. So now we can just slap on all sorts of graphics, and there's a lot of graphics I didn't get to cover. For example, I have this really cool arrow designer. So let's say I wanted to point to something here. I can bring in this arrow designer, shrink it down, but if we take a look here, I'm gonna change the color on it to like a bright yellow so we can really clearly see it. So this is what's cool. Now I can go in and I can change the head point. So now it's got a longer point or shorter point. It's got these base points that I can adjust, bottom side, the wings. So you can get really crazy with this arrow and make it look exactly as you want it. And then let's say, okay, I want this to have an outline. Well, that's where these other tools in the thumbnail creator come in. So let's just drop in the outline effect. And now it's got an outline. We can jump in there, increase the width on that outline, maybe change the color on it so it really pops. So yeah, you can combine these different tools, and then okay, now we want to do an outer glow on this arrow, and just like that, it's got a glow. Maybe I'm not happy with those colors of the glow. Let me hide this. Go to the gradient, and we can change the colors on this gradient. It's kind of off to the side, so you're not going to really see it until I get to the end here. But now I should be able to drag the gradient controls here, and you can see how we're getting that cool glow. So you can combine so many different elements, and this just makes it really fast. Something that Affinity Photo doesn't have is the ability to add a gradient to your glow. So that's a win here. Another thing that this tool has, and I did show this in my video, is what did I call it? Adaptive glow. Had to come up with some creative name for it. So if you add outer glow, you'll see it has the gradient color, but I can change it to adaptive glow, and adaptive glow takes on the color of whatever your object is. So let me just show this a bit better. I'm gonna hide the gradient background so we can clearly see it. And I'll add a draw mask and just cut out the middle here. Boom. Okay, now let's go back to my creator. I wish I could put the draw mask inside the thumbnail creator. Maybe someday, maybe someday. Anyway, so now we can add the outer glow, and we'll change it to adaptive. And I wish I could have showed this better in the video, but you can see now that the glow is taking on the actual color of the object, and it's giving it this really cool look. So when you have bright, colorful objects like this, it looks so good. That's something I'm really happy with, and it's an effect that I'm going to be using a lot. So that's another cool feature that this has. And then I also added in my electric outline, and I did talk about this in the video. Definitely go watch that video. But the problem, well, okay, so previously I created my Saber plugin, and that's free. Everybody can go download that. The problem with that plugin is that it's all animated, and so your thumbnails were never consistent when you would export it out, because if you moved your playhead, that glow might change. So I locked off the movement, and now you can drag this around and it's not a problem anymore. And it does have this offset too, which is cool. But so now you know for sure that you're always going to get the exact same results, and that's super important for thumbnail creation. So that's a big benefit there. I did make some minor optimizations and stuff inside, so it's a little bit faster as much as I can. It is a very heavy plugin, but yeah, that's the benefit there. And let's see, let's check out some of these questions. Geza is saying, this is so impressive. I bought it and then realized I can use the assets in videos too. Yeah, it's absolutely great for videos too. So I even used it inside of the video I created. for the magnify tool, which I didn't get to show. Let me show that. Here we go. Let's say I wanted to zoom in on something on the screen. We'll just drop in magnify here. And magnify just has super easy controls here. We can scale that up, and then we can also offset that scale. So now we can show detail on that zoomed in section, and we could change the colors on this. And something I would like to add is almost everything in this can be changed into a gradient if you want it to be. So let's say I want this outer circle to be a gradient. I can just add another control point there, change that to blue. Boom. Now we've got a gradient. And you know what I'm realizing is I didn't set offset points, but we can adjust those start and end points here. I guess there needs to be an update, guys. So you can adjust the offsets here in the start and end, but most tools I've added, I'm actually surprised I didn't get it in this one, have on-screen controls you can enable or disable for the gradients, just to make them a little bit easier. So yeah, most things, if they have that long color bar, that means this can be turned into a gradient. Something that can't, I'm trying to think of something that can't change into a gradient, but I tried to make it so everything could. Maybe, concentric shapes. Okay, so if you take a look at concentric shapes here, you'll see these smaller color boxes. So that means it can't turn into a gradient. So that's kind of the difference there. Just be on the lookout. If you see a long color box, you are set for a gradient. Another thing I didn't get to show is like the crossout. The crossout's pretty cool. We can scale it up, scale it down. We can rotate it, but you also have full control over the X. Now it's like, oh, what the heck? It's flying out of the box. Well, if we just go ahead and line it up using these two control points, we can get it just like so. Beautiful. We can change it to a gradient. This one has gradient controls, that's good. Adjust the width on that. You can also turn it into just a single line if you want to, and that's super nice. You can also, of course, turn off the circle if you want just a basic X. So that's a cool little tool. And on top of that, we also have these other X's, and these come with 5 different variations. So you got your thick X, and you can just scale that way up. We got the thin version. We've got thick 2, wispy, and clinical, which is just a basic X. And those have super easy on-screen controls. So that's handy. I love using these. Again, blend modes, guys. Use those blend modes. And we can cross out my hand like that. Super fun. So not only does that X have those 5 options, but so does the check mark. And you can also change these to a gradient if you want to. I'm just a gradient guy. So there we go. Now we got a gradient going, which is cool. And it also has 5 options there for you to play with. We've got the hand-drawn circle. Now this one's super fun. Just circle around my face, and you'll see how you can like really morph the shape to whatever you want it to look like. And you might be wondering what the heck this is for. This is the anchor point. So you'll notice there's a rotation, and you need to adjust that anchor point for your rotator. I'm not super happy with the workflow there, so expect an update to address that, but now I can rotate around that center point. So yeah, that's the hand-drawn tool. Again, you can change the colors on that. Gonna jump over here. Doc Rock, dude, I was gonna get a Pokeball. Doc knows the place for Pokeballs, man. He set me up when I was hanging out with him in Hawaii. Now I wanted to play more with this. I needed this when I was doing my 365 days of YouTube. That's awesome. And Chris is saying, great work on this. I keep getting trapped into using Adobe products. It gets us every time, doesn't it? But can't wait for the day to edit in Final Cut Pro and use this tool daily. Gaze is saying, yeah, I dislike Adobe for so many reasons, but I miss Photoshop. I think Photoshop, in all honesty, is Adobe's best product. Although I do like After Effects. This has potential to replace some of it at least. Yeah, 100%. I tried GIMP and it looks good, but learning a new workflow, ugh. Yeah, hey, Geza, something you should look into is Affinity also just released their app for free. I don't know for sure how they're monetizing it. They're saying it's through Canva Pro subscriptions, but I'm not sure. Maybe really read the terms and conditions. Who knows what we're getting into. Hey, cheers from Berlin. I would love to go to Berlin one of these days. Johnny is asking, any vertical templates? Technically, you could use all of these vertically. I didn't create anything that's designed 100% specifically for vertical video, but they would all work on a vertical timeline. And that being said, I need to figure out exactly what the guides would look like for vertical videos. So Instagram and TikTok, you can create a custom thumbnail. So I just need to figure out what graphical elements need to be there to kind of give you an idea of what's available, because I have the the thumbnail guide, I should say. The thumbnail guide is really cool. This is something that wasn't in my video that I just added. So most of this was there, but you can change the scale on this, and now you can change it to see what it looks like on a light mode or on dark mode. And then you can also choose how large this little time code indicator is, because there's two variations you'll see on YouTube. There's like really mini thumbnails and they have this giant time code, and then there's also like the front page has this smaller time code. So that just gives you a good idea of what your thumbnail is going to look like in the end. Gonna drink some water here. Okay, so yeah, there's some other really cool stuff that I didn't get to show. I lightly showed this on-off switch, and if you look on YouTube anywhere, you're gonna see these on-off switches everywhere. And a little secret, I have found that most videos where I throw one of these on-off switches on the cover, it's usually a very good performing video. So I'm not saying that buying this plugin is going to get you more views, but it's gonna get you more views. So you can change the switch state on it, on, off. I did want to add the ability to change the font on the text, but I ran into some issues there. Again, updates, guys. Free updates for life if you pick this up. But yeah, it's super easy to use. You can scale it up as much as you need. It's an SVG, so it shouldn't lose any resolution. You can change the color. You can set those to gradients. Lots and lots of options there. But yeah, I seriously, I use these on-off switches all the time in my graphics, and those videos always do really well. You can also cartoonify it a bit, make that other circle pop with an outline, or we can just get rid of the outlines altogether. Make it a little more sleek, a little more Apple-esque. It's up to you. This highlighter tool is cool too. It's just like a chalk line. So you could just drag this over whatever you need. You could change the color on it. Let's pretend like we want to censor me. I accidentally have 2 control points there. Censored. Turn it red. Lots of cool stuff there. Yeah, I really like the highlighter tool there. I also added a whole bunch of shapes, and one thing I didn't get to cover is this dashed rectangle. So you can see I have a dashed rectangle, and honestly, the system for adding dashed lines in Apple Motion really needs an upgrade. So with Apple, if you are, watching 10 seconds of this right now, maybe work on that dashed line system. It's pretty limited, but it is cool. It auto updates. I do want to add more dashed lines to more shapes, but it's actually quite a large process, and it does create an individual item here. And I try and not over inundate you with so many options here. There are a lot, so I try and keep everything condensed if I can. So that would I essentially have to duplicate all the shapes if I want to do dashed lines of each shape. Could happen. We'll see. Another thing I really like is the before and after backdrop. So you'll see these all over the internet, before, after, and this just makes that really easy. It's got a line pre-baked in. You can rotate that line. You can change your colors however you want them for your backdrop, which is cool. So yeah, I really like this before after. It's always a very good performing thumbnail for people to have like a strong before and after, and especially with like these solid clean colors, it works really well. So you could have like Final Cut here on the left and DaVinci Resolve on the right, and you'd be set. So yeah, that you're good there. You got this before and after option. I really am happy with how the various titles turned out on this, because even the simple one, the simple white outline, so basic, nothing crazy going on, but it's just pre-made for you. You don't have to click any more buttons inside of Affinity or Photoshop or whatever. It's got the outline, it's pre-made for you. I even picked a font that everybody has installed, the Impact font. Not my favorite font, but it does get the job done. So if you want, you can change this. Boom, now it looks a little better. I did want to set everything to this Passion font, but not everybody has that installed. So yeah, super basic white outline. That wasn't in the video, that was added recently. There's this smooth background, and I'm so happy with how this effect turned out. I think this is going to set up the base for a lot of other tools that I create down the road, because we can add multiple lines, and you'll see that it smooths out and tracks with however you have your title. So this is the one I used in the video, but there's a lot of different things going on in the background to make it so it matches the width and smooths out really nicely. You can break it if you get really crazy with the line spacing. Here we go. Let's break it real quick. So if we stretch it out, you can see some of the underlying effects, like these edges, very hard to see probably on stream, but they aren't perfectly smoothed. So you can absolutely break it if you're not careful with it, but I am really happy with the end result, and I'm definitely going to use this for some other stuff and hopefully even make it better in the near future. This negative title is super fun. I actually created a video not that long ago showing how to make this, but if you go into the face, you can change the colors on it, and that gives you such a dynamic, different look to it, right? So not only is it kind of giving you that negative filter over your video, but if we just push these colors over here, I mean, look how cool that is. I think that's just such a cool title. I love the outline and the drop shadow and the negative effect. I just think it's really cool. Something I will talk about too, I didn't get to cover this as in depth as I wanted to inside of the video. This split depth title. Now, this has to be applied as an effect, specifically because it needs to be aware of a layer that has been cut out. So you have to pre-mask the layer like we did here. And once it knows, okay, there's this cutout, it can do the effect perfectly. So let's apply the split depth title, and you'll see that wherever my body is, it's an outline effect, which is fun. But anything, anywhere that it's behind the cutout is a full title. So it has to be applied as an effect. It can't work outside of an effect, specifically because Final Cut just needs to know where the cutout's happening. But once you figure that out, it's very easy to use, and we can go ahead and dial in all the colors and everything as you would want to. And I'm trying to think, oh yeah, here's the outline colors. It's just really fun to have like a pop of color and then your regular titles. Just a fun title to play around with. Definitely check it out. Here's your blend modes. I feel like those, man, quality control, guys. I screwed up the quality control on this one. The blend mode's way at the bottom and it needs to be higher up. I also noticed that I have this fade out effect, and that's not supposed to be there, and it looks like it's glitching everything out. So I guess I gotta get an update out probably today. It'll be out shortly here. Working on that quality control. We'll get there. So yeah, there's tons of cool titles and stuff. Really like the split depth effect. And thank you, Doc. Appreciate you. And Rotten Apple here in the house, implementing this in my thumbnails. So good. Appreciate you. Oh, here's an effect. Here's an effect I really like. It's this paper cutout effect. So if I drop this onto me, oh, it's even gonna work on the title. Let me get rid of the split depth title. But you'll see I get like these paper chunks, and we can go ahead and scale it up a bit. Oops, scaled it too much here. I might need to offset it too. But you'll see that it's like giving me that, man, it's so sensitive. It's also not showing me the offset controls. That's interesting. I swear, guys, I tested all of these. I did. I don't know what I did. Anyway, the paper cutout is super cool. It works on anything. So if I were to add in, say, for example, the title background here and do the paper cutout, you'll see that it's also getting that effect, and the paper cutout's just gonna match that. Oh, there it is. Is that, there's my controls for it? That's weird. It was like glitched out on that last one. That could be a Final Cut problem. So you can scale it up. That's the effect I was going for. But yeah, so you can see it's giving me this super cool paper cutout. Really like how this looks. You can change the colors. And guess what? Gradients. You can add gradients. So that's super fun. What else? Oh, the plastic effect. I don't know if I have like a good image for this, but we'll just try it on me. It's gonna be hideous. So if we apply the plastic effect, look at that. I'm all plasticky. So this is a fun effect. It just looks at the different luminance values and kind of creates a sheen off of it. You can adjust that softness. So I'm not totally sure what you would use this effect for, but if you ever need something to look fake and plasticky, you are set. You can adjust the light rotation on that. I mean, this is a really cool 3D effect. I wish I had more uses for it because it's really fun. Let me see, what else do we got here? Oh, light wrap. Now, I did show inner glow in the video, but I should have probably showed the light wrap effect. This is really cool. So if I drop the light wrap effect, I can click on this drop zone and select what I want to wrap me with light. So if I push apply clip, you can start to see on the edges that I'm actually taking on the color of the background. Let's just drag that amount up. So, and we could change it to screen. It's just a little brighter. So this is going to automatically take on whatever color is behind it. So the gradient, obviously you can just choose 2 different colors. You'll get that cool gradient. That's in the inner glow effect. But the light wrap is just dynamically choosing what's in the background. I guess dynamic is probably not the right word there. It's once you set it with a drop zone, it's going to take on the colors. So if you want an entire thumbnail to take on or let's say you have a subject that you want to take on the colors of your entire thumbnail, you could throw everything into a compound clip. You could even duplicate it or whatever you need to do and choose that as your light wrap source, and it's going to adapt and take all of those colors. So that's pretty cool. Another effect I didn't get to cover is this sheen effect. So you just drop that on. Look at that. You just drag a sheen right across. You rotate it. Do whatever you want to do. You can change the colors, the blend mode, all that good stuff. There's really a lot of tools here. And then probably the last tool I'm going to cover before I take some more questions here is the 3D transform. So you drop this on and you can click. You have to click after. It's so annoying. But you drop it on, you click. That's a Final Cut Pro thing, not a plugin thing. And now I have full control to rotate this in 3D space, which is handy. We can also move it around in 3D space. So I have this on my free motion tools pack as well, if you don't feel like picking up my plugin. But this is really nice for setting up, perspective and all that stuff. Really cool tool. What I will say though, something that nobody talks about in Final Cut, I think I've maybe seen one video mention it, is the distortion tool in Final Cut. So if you need perspective, this is already built in. you just go over here to the distort tool. We'll zoom out. Check this out. I can just squeeze it down and give myself some 3D perspective. So this is just like the perspective tools that you would find in Photoshop or whatever, but you can do it here in Final Cut. Super handy. And I'm not saying nobody's aware of it, but nobody ever talks about it. So I'm sure there's a lot less people aware of it than there should be. So distort tool is really cool. So yeah, let me go ahead and scroll through, see if there's any more questions. Rob loves the negative title, just used it, and my amazing pro zooms in a vid published today. Rob, I gotta go watch this video because I'm super curious how it turned out. That's exciting. Also, oh, okay, this has nothing to do with the thumbnail tool. This has to do with pro zooms because I've been getting a lot of questions about pro zooms not working correctly on vertical videos. And I figured out the reason for the problem. It's because if you convert your timeline, your 16:9 timeline to vertical, for some reason that really bugs pro zooms out. I don't know if I can fix it or not. I'm going to see if I can. I don't know if it's a Final Cut Pro issue or if it's a Pro Zooms issue, but I did find out the root cause. So unfortunately, if you're converting a timeline over to a vertical format after you've edited 16:9, you'll have to replace the Pro Zooms on the timeline, and that should fix it. I am aware of the issue, and I'm working on it. And it's right here. It's deep in my mind. So I just wanted to focus on this this tool, and then Pro Zooms needs to get an update. Apparently I got to do a little quality control here. I missed some things, but yeah, I'm excited about this tool. So anyway, that was more of a deep dive into all of the tools that are available. I think I'm peaking. I'm talking a little bit loud. Let me turn that down. So yeah, I'm so excited about this tool. I think it's going to simplify the process for a lot of people. Switch over to my face. This tool is not to make it so you don't need Photoshop or not need any other photo editor. This is just to simplify the process because a lot of the times you don't need all of the best AI tools at your fingertips at all times. Sometimes you just need a basic tool that can add some glow and outline, and be kind of fun to use. You know, that's sometimes that's all you need. And so that's what this is designed for. I tried to price it really affordably because it's not supposed to completely take over the photo editing process. It's just to mitigate it, make it so that maybe you don't need to jump to another app all the time. I personally will probably edit 99% of the thumbnails for my future videos inside of Final Cut Pro now using this tool. And the best part about that is because I'm working with the tool regularly, I'm going to immediately find all of its faults and hopefully be able to fix those and make it even better with future updates that are free because it's not a subscription. So yeah, I'm super proud of this. I hope this little live stream was helpful. For some reason, my voice is going real quick today. Need some more water here. But hopefully this has been helpful to some of you at least. And let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out over on my my email address, dylan@thefinalcutbro.com, and I will respond to you as quickly as I can. Every time I release a new plugin, I always get a lot of emails, so sometimes it takes me a little bit, but I'm getting back to them as fast as I can. And yeah, I think that's probably what I'm going to get to next, is responding to the emails I'm seeing coming in right at this very moment. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you for picking up this plugin, and let me know your ideas on future stuff to add, because I just want this to be a really helpful thumbnail creation tool for all of you. Yeah, that about sums it up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Doc. Appreciate you. And looking forward to hanging out with you guys in the next one. We'll see you later, alligator. Oh, shout out Ecamm, by the way. That's what I'm using to stream this. I always get that question. Ecamm Live. Great, great streaming software. So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Oh yeah, nice mouse pad. It's old, dude. It's dirty. I shouldn't even show that. It's dirty. All right, thanks guys. We'll catch you later.